Hi, this is Jim Seimas.
And Andrew Matheson for double coverage, our Week 2, get 'em up, preview for 6 Santa Cruz County football games, prep and JC level. Let's get right into it. 2 p.m. over at Scotts Valley. The Falcons will be hosting the Kings Academy, private school, even more private players.
Yeah, well, Scotts Valley's played them before. When they were a little bit, when I think they were a little bit more stacked. The Kings Academy looks still pretty good this year. They beat San Jose High School 55-7.
They didn't beat San Jose City.
They might. I heard San Jose City's pretty down, and they got thumped this year. So, the Kings Academy is a pretty good program year in and year out.
Yeah.
Team that runs a lot. Their quarterback only attempted 7 passes last week, completed 5 of them, threw 3 touchdowns. I would love to see his QB rating. I don't have it in front of me, but I know it's through the roof.
Yeah, it's probably maxed out, I'm sure. And they combined for 170 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Fidel Nunez is a name to watch out for. TKA coach Willie Guyton said he's, quote, a guy who can take to the Division I level, according to the Daily News and John Reed.
Okay.
So there is that kind of talent. There is that kind of talent on this team.
They seem like a very balanced run attack team.
Sure.
I mean, no one really stood out running back wise. No one had a couple hundred yards. It was very across the board, steady Eddie, in your face.
There's no Jake Renberg, is what you're saying.
There's no Jake Renberg. But you know what's more than that? Willie Johnston, Jake Lobo, everyone's going to have to step up and give a good game to get a W here.
Alec Tarowski leading the team right now in receiving. And just regarding Renberg, though, county leading 424 rushing yards right now, and he's done it in one half against Evergreen Valley and against Spanish Springs, which is the number 16 ranked team in Nevada. So he's doing it in short amounts, and he's doing it against good teams. You like the Falcons?
I love the Falcons right now.
I like the Falcons. Next up on the docket, the Santa Cruz Cardinals, coming off a tough loss at Watsonville last week, are traveling to Fremont to take on Irvington, which is located in Fremont.
It is.
And they came down to Santa Cruz last year and laid the smack on Santa Cruz 42-6. Yeah. I don't necessarily see it that lopsided again.
It looks like Santa Cruz wants to lay some hat down this week as well after Watsonville kind of ran pretty good on top of them. Yeah. I mean, Santa Cruz made it close, but I mean, Watsonville really had their way with their ground attack.
Sure.
And it'll be interesting to see who the Cardinals actually start, if they could stop the run, but who they start at quarterback. Is it going to be Tyler Shank or Drake Fenley?
Yeah, and Fenley has started all season, and they brought in Shank late in the game last week.
And touchdown drive, 3 complete passes, 80 yards. I mean, he looked good, so it'll be interesting what the call is there. And I'm sure they don't mind keeping Irvington guessing on that situation either.
Well, and Santa Cruz mostly led by their run. Ashton Davis, Dale Stoller, Alex Morris. Yeah. You can say the same thing for Irvington.
Irvington looks like a run-heavy team.
Who do we need to keep an eye out for?
Jack Shank, no relation. Jack Shank.
What we think?
No relation that we know of. Yeah, it's my cousin, dude. He's ran 12 carries for 116 yards, 3 touchdowns. He leads the team in rushing scores. Also, Jared Lozoya has 43 carries for 384 yards and a pair of touchdowns.
And he leads the team in yardage.
Yeah, they look like a pretty power running team. You know? And it'll be interesting to see if they can do it again. I kind of like Irvington this game.
I'll take Irvington too. Giving them the edge just because they're playing at home. I think I'd like Santa Cruz if they were home, but that is not the case. And the next game on our schedule, Robert Louis Stevenson.
Stevenson School. 86 Robert Louis.
Really?
Gave him the old heave-ho about 3 years ago.
The namesake?
Stevenson School.
How dare you, Stevenson?
But before we really get into this, we know who they play now against Harbor.
They're visiting Harbor. 0-2.
I'm going to just get out and state my team right from the get-go, and I'm going to say I take the Pirates.
Okay. Both teams are nicknamed the Pirates. Hardy, har,
yeah,
Seimas.
That's high school football humor.
Stevenson, though, has not played a game. They're playing a 9-game schedule this year, and this is their season opener. Harbor, of course, has played 2 games, both losses.
I want to change my pick then to the Pirates.
Okay. Hardy.
Thank you.
Har. Stevenson, only 22 players, graduated a ton of talent from actually a pretty solid small team last year. John Jackson is gone, Clayton Archer is gone, Bob Lee is gone, Stephen Hood is gone. Returning, the leading receiver, Grant
Pazinski.
What
about Drew Miller? He's back.
Drew Miller,
okay,
one of the top kickers in the county. We don't really know a heck of a lot on Stevenson.
Clearly. But we know a lot about Harbor.
We do.
And it's enough to make a decision on. But what we don't know is if, we know quarterback Miles Small will probably be airing it out. I would like to see Harbor run the ball.
That's what they need to work on, yes.
They need to get some running game going. I don't know how, they'll have Matheson playing and they'll have Noah Tall at tight end. But I want to know, is Cody Sullivan going to play? He got injured last week.
He had a sprained ankle, suffered a sprained ankle last week against Pajaro Valley. I lost to Pajaro Valley.
I mean, if you're going to be one-dimensional and pass it, if they can't run the ball, they at least need to have all their tools out there to have a shot.
So who are you really taking, Jim?
I think I'm going to go one last week and go with Harbor.
I'm going to go with Harbor, too. I think this is the week that they break through. The fact that Stevenson, they have 22 players, granted, Harbor small too, but they graduated so much from last year, and this is their opener. Of course, they've had 5 weeks to prepare for it.
Yeah,
but
it's their first game. They're going to make some first game mistakes, but this to Harbor, do not let me down this week.
Also at 2 p.m., Mills from Millbrae
again
coming back down to Santa Cruz County to take on San Lorenzo Valley, which is coming off a tough loss in Stockton last week. You've actually got to see Mills already.
I have seen Mills.
And recap the viewers what you said about Mills when they played Harbor early in the season.
Well, I said that they were studs.
Okay.
Antonio Jeffrey went off for the second straight time against Harbor, but I found out this year it was a whole lot more than him.
Yeah.
It seemed like they have 3 or 4 really good skill players. Josh Vesved, the wide receiver. Also, Victor Beglisov. Remember I massacred that name? He's back.
I do remember that.
And their stud quarterback, Marquise Adkins.
Yeah.
So they have a trio of real good guys.
Yeah.
And they're pretty small up front, and they play defense. But they look like an improved product from last year.
No, I saw them briefly as well, and they definitely seem pretty athletic.
Yeah.
More than they had more athletes than Harbor on the field at least. And that kind of reflects in the score a little bit. SLV, of course, like we mentioned, coming off a tough loss in Edison.
Tough team, though.
Tough loss, and of course, losing a tough player in Nate Gentry, it sounds like.
That's a big loss.
Huge loss. I mean, he was leading rusher for the Cougars through the first couple of weeks.
They still have Shell Johnson, who's their flyback.
Elliot Duran, guys are going to have to step up at this point.
Yeah, but they need some size. They need a fullback type like runner that could run a little bit. It'll be interesting to see who fills in for Nate. Is it going to be Kurt Lambaron? Just off the top of my head, that seems like a name, a type guy that would fit that mold. Their stud linebacker. But it'll be interesting to see if they can compete. Otherwise, I have Mills.
I'll take Mills as well over SLV. Sorry, Cougars. Third game on the slate, St. Francis. Big winners again. One of only 2 remaining teams in the county to remain undefeated this year, the other one being Soquel. Going up to San Francisco, taking on Balboa, which is only on the schedule because King City decided not to play St. Francis earlier this season. You're already singing.
Yeah, great song. In the city.
Just keep going.
No, I'm lost.
Okay.
Let's get to the game.
Yeah, sure. This
game is music to Balboa's ears.
Ooh.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just saying they're looking for some out-of-town, out-of-area blood, I guess, and after beating San Rafael in their opener and losing to Oakland Tech last week, they're hungry for a win. Mm-hmm. So, they're a pretty talented team playing a horrible section, but it looks like they're doing pretty good. Tons of talent.
They've got some size. They've got some athleticism. Eli Smoot, their quarterback, a baseball standout focusing on football at this point, and a big guy up front named Bishop, who's 330 pounds, D'Artagnan Bishop, I believe.
Nose guard, though. Nose guard. He's on defense.
Excuse me.
6'2", 330. And also, they have a stud linebacker named Marlon Kanaya.
And but my point being 330. No, there's nobody on St. Francis that big.
No,
so
2 of them together.
Yeah,
maybe we'll duct tape a couple. Also, they have a couple good running backs: Jeremiah Iuli, who's a 220-pounder, and Will Barnett, who's a 150-pounder, 5'5" kid, real shifty. They have some talent on there, but so do the Sharks. I mean, they're 2-0. Is Jonathan Carmona going to get it done again? Nick Ciandro passing the ball to either Carmona or Garrett Salcido? This game's a coin flip to me.
What does the coin flip say?
Always favor the team on the home team.
On the home?
Yeah, on the home, on the Pier 39 team.
Carmona, you mentioned, second in the county right now with 260 yards rushing in 2 games. I'm going to go with you as well. It's going to be a 2-hour drive to San Francisco for St. Francis. And they're going to be, the smaller team, I think, size-wise. Yeah. I'm going to go with Balboa and St. Francis their first loss this year. And our last game on the schedule, Saturday night, Deanza visiting Cabrillo. 0-1. Deanza 2-0, 7 p.m. at Colorado Colony Field in Aptos.
Nice.
Deanza's loaded.
Deanza is a bowl qualifier last year. They lost a bowl game 63-56.
Not that good then.
But there's a lot of turnover in two-year schools.
Sure.
And they're still studly.
Yeah, number 7 in the state right now.
Yeah.
And who's some of the names that are leading that state-ranked team?
Brian Fobbs was named a Player of the Week, NCFA Offensive Player of the Week. He had 232 yards receiving to go along with 2 touchdowns as Deanza beat Contra Costa last week by a touchdown. So they're not unbeatable.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Cabrillo is Contra Costa. Cabrillo is without Lucas Romanski, their quarterback. Yeah. They're also without Kendall Clark and Zach Johnson this week. Sorry, go ahead.
Brandon Lane going to step into the quarterback position. What do we know about him coming into this game?
A kid from Texas, West Texas, threw for
that's good.
40 touchdowns in high school, 50 touchdowns.
That's also good.
5,000 passing yards. He's a shorter.
They got it.
He's a stud. He is a stud. Cabrillo feels blessed with both Romanski and Lane. They feel like they have 2 super quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the line's going to match up and whatnot. I really like Deanza's coaching, and I think Dan Atancio is a great coach. But the guy he picked up as an assistant, his offensive coordinator, is ex-Cabrillo coach back in yesteryear, Tony Santos.
So he knows all their plays.
Yeah, he does. Well, that was way back during the Steve Cox era. But Tony Santos is the man. He lifted my alma mater, Westmont, a historically horrible program, into the CCS medium schools final when he was coaching high school. The moment he took over Deanza, they turned the corner. Deanza was horrible for years. And so they've run the spread offense amazingly. Jack Singler, their quarterback, and Alfonso Bristol, their running back, is a stud. They have a ton of studs.
You're going with Deanza.
I am going with Deanza.
I'm going with Deanza, number 7 ranked.
I sold you on that?
You sold me, yeah,
okay.
After all that.
Whew!
That does it for this week's show. Before we go any further, I just want to mention Cabrillo lineman Chase Whitney, listed at 245 pounds, not 230, like I said last week.
Still a man-child, though.
I only say that because he could break me in 2.
Yes, he can.
But you can check out our Week 2 recaps in the paper, online, and here on Double Coverage later this week. You can check out our app, now on the Apple Store.
Yeah, baby!
Finally, Apple. Way to get around to it.
Yeah,
Way to
baby.
get around to Double Coverage. We're already on the Google Play Store, so you can check us out there as well. There's push notifications that you can sign up for. When a final score is done, we put it in. It comes directly to you if you are that into prep football.
Yes.
And we know you are.
Because you're watching this, and make sure you tell your friends about it.
Exactly. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Tout.
We're on everything, baby.
We're on everything, and we're all on
SantaCruzSentinel.com/football. Oh, I can't like that.